Okay, what is going on? LBHT Crew B. What is going on?
Well, happy Friday to me. Not a whole lot other than it's Ghost of Yote Eve.
Yes.
It's Love is Blind Day. New season started today. Not real worried about football because you saw what happened to the Panthers last week. So I'm looking for other things. I'm looking for other things to occupy my time just in case. It's not giving up. But I also checked out the Steam sale. I saw Chef RPG. I'm gonna purchase that, and I can sink some hours in there. But whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes.
Well, that happens to be the title. Panthers and Ravens are in crisis mode. Can they save their seasons? B is hinting that no, the season cannot be saved for them.
I'm not hinting anything. I'm just being prepared.
I mean, I don't know. It just seems like you checked out a little bit. But anywho, we'll discuss all that today. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot of news that happened even since yesterday. When we live streamed that Lamar Jackson was reportedly out for 2 to 3 weeks, and now we got an update, and that may not be the case. So we'll see. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the upcoming games for both teams and how they can both get back on track. But listen, it's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hope your week is going well. But if not, hopefully it gets better starting right now. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So wherever you're watching us, make sure you hit that like button, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're listening to the audio form of this, we put this out on Thursday at lunchtime. So we hope you're enjoying your lunch break. Make sure you give us a 5-star review because we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow everywhere, and we have been growing, man. Like you guys, when we don't perform the way we're supposed to perform, you show up here. You know what channel's going to give you the truth. You want the truth.
And I want to emphasize that's part about leaving the 5-star review. We're not asking you to leave a review. We're asking you to leave a 5-star review. If you do not feel like the show is worth 5 stars, do not leave your review. Go ahead and send us an email, LBHTShow.com or at gmail.com. Don't leave a review that's less than 5 stars. That's coward behavior. Okay. We don't like that over here.
All right, let's see who's in the chat. We got Noah in the house as hashtag fire John Harbaugh.
What's up, Noah?
Actually, we got Bazel here first. What's up, Bazel? Appreciate you. Appreciate you too, Noah. We got Andrew in the house says hashtag defund the defense. Salute. We got just Aloe in the house says hello, LBHT crew. I hope everyone is doing well. We have Garrison says, yes, sir. Salute, Brodny and Jose.
What's up, Garrison? And thanks for coming by the Steel Conspiracy yesterday as well. Appreciate that.
Hey, Adelia's here. What's going on, Adelia? Adelia's taking a sick day. She is not feeling well. We hope you get well soon.
Yes.
So if you notice, we actually were ready early, but we said no. In honor of Adelia, we are going to start late. Okay. I said we're going to wait 2 minutes and then we'll hit start. All right. So that's what we did. Daniel Franklin's in the house. What's going on, Daniel? Says, looks like the Ravens are terrified. Nobody will show up to the game on Sunday. So they say Lamar is going to try to play. Not very convincing. Well, we're going to discuss that. All right. DDSQ in the house. Salute, DDSQ. What's going on? Appreciate you coming through. Felipe Moreno says Eric Kendricks denying the Ravens. That one hurt. And John using Monken as a scapegoat because he knew Todd can be a head coach. Oh, you guys are so ready to discuss this. We're going to talk about it. Urban's in the house. What's up, Urban? Says, what's up to the end of the bar? That's right. That's all you guys. All right. Who else we got in here? Jeremy's here. What's going on, Jeremy? Appreciate you coming through. We got Slim Smith in the house. What's going on, Slim? Big Reg from host of Big Boy Talk. Make sure you guys go over there and subscribe to Big Reg. Thanks for coming through. AD is here on the screen. He's also here in studio. He will be here. He'll be on screen here pretty soon. So let's see. Better late than never. Hey, we're like B says, whenever we start, we're right on time. Okay. Right. Chaos, what's going on? Thanks for coming through. SV Cam, salute. So, yo, what's good? Okay. What's good with you? Appreciate you. All right. People are filing in. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Uh, look, I put a goal. I did set a goal. 5 super chats and or donations. Okay. Do the super chat. You can click that pin link that you see in the chat box. That'll take you to our Streamlabs page. You can hit up our Cash App, $ LBHT show. Those are all the ways to donate. And if you want to join our membership, it's only $5. We have other tiers, that'll give you other perks as well. Patreon.com/LBHT show is how you do that. Okay. We have a lot to discuss, and we have a overtime show that we want to get to, and we got some video games to play at midnight. All right. So
That's right.
That's
the most important thing that you just mentioned.
All right. But first, we like to start every show with a Black History fact, and B and Nicole have a Black History fact for you.
This week on the LBHT Black History Fact, the Phoenicians were a seafaring people who flourished along the eastern Mediterranean coast, modern-day Lebanon, Syria, and northern Israel, from around 2800 to 700 BCE. Rather than forming a centralized empire, they operated as a network of independent city-states like Tyre, Sidon, and Byblos. These cities shared a common language and culture rooted in their Canaanite ancestry, but each was governed by its own merchant elite. Renowned for their maritime skill, the Phoenicians built sturdy ships and mastered celestial navigation, allowing them to explore and trade across the Mediterranean. Their vessels carried prized exports such as cedarwood, glass, wine, and textiles, but their most famous product was Tyrian purple dye, extracted from sea snails, and so rare it became a symbol of royalty. Through trade, they connected distant civilizations, spreading technologies, religious ideas, and artistic styles. One of their most lasting contributions was the development of a phonetic alphabet around 1050 BCE. With just 22 characters representing sounds, it was far simpler than cuneiform or hieroglyphs, and became the foundation for Greek, Latin, and modern Western alphabets. The Phoenicians also founded colonies throughout the Mediterranean, including Carthage in North Africa, which later rivaled Rome. Though eventually absorbed by empires like Assyria and Persia, the Phoenicians left a legacy of innovation and connectivity. Their alphabet reshaped communication. Their trade routes linked cultures, and their colonies extended their influence long after their cities declined. They weren't empire builders in the traditional sense, but they were architects of exchange, language, and maritime power.
Salute to the Black History Fact. All right.
Coley would just be like randomly getting real fancy with his accent sometimes. It doesn't make any sense. He should be talking normal, then he's like, "Oh, simpler." I don't understand it.
He gotta let you know that he's here, that he wants to be heard as well. All right. Look, we got AD in the house, man. Let's bring AD up from Press Start 410. Oh, well, that didn't work. We got the wrong setup here. You got what music you got playing in the background, AD?
I don't have no music playing.
Something's playing.
Negative.
Do an audio check. Hold on, we gotta change the setup here. There we go.
There's definitely music going on in the background.
All right, do you hear any music now? Everything good?
Everything's good.
All right, cool. What's up, fellas? How y'all feeling?
Man, right. AD's been waiting. He's been wanting to vent for a minute. Okay. So look, here's how we're gonna do. We're going to do a quick recap of last week's game, since we kind of ranted about it for for a little over an hour after the game. We'll do a quick recap, and then we'll talk about injuries and whatnot. We'll discuss the upcoming game. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to our brother Eric L. Says, greetings, everyone. Have a most excellent show. Hashtag 10K subscribers on the way. I appreciate that. Our goal is 5,000 by the end of the year. It's an ambitious goal, but we believe we can hit it. So make sure you spread the word. We're off to a good start. And salute to Osman. Thanks for coming through, Osman. I be saying, what up? What's good? Dewan Tally, what's good? Thanks for coming through. Martavius Lucado, appreciate you. Just trying to make sure I get everybody in here. I think that's all the shout outs. Okay. So look, last week wasn't good for the Ravens. We had some injuries, had a few injuries, but the biggest question mark is Lamar Jackson with the hamstring injury. Initially reported that he'd be out 2 to 3 weeks. Now there's some talk that he's going to try to go for Sunday's game. They're taking it week to week, so who knows what to make of it. But AD, what are your thoughts on all this? Let's start with the Chiefs game. How'd you feel about that game?
I mean, I feel like everybody in Ravens Nation probably felt the most fraudulent looking team that I ever saw in my life. I mean, I can't believe that this was a team everybody was touting to be a Super Bowl contender. They look like pretenders right now, and it's no use of trying to sugarcoat anything. I don't know what this team does well. They don't have an identity. They don't stop the run. They don't run the football. They don't stop the pass. They don't play well in an intermediate game. They don't play complementary football. They get crushed in time of possession. They're losing a turnover battle virtually every week. This is not Ravens football, and it starts at the top with the owner, Steve Bisciotti, trickling down to Ed DeCosta, John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, Zach Orr. All of them need to be held accountable. I don't want to hear any excuses. 2-2 was the worst off we should have been after the first 4 games. And now they got Lamar Jackson hurt. And he did not look healthy coming into the season. Let's be honest. That elite burst that we're used to seeing from Lamar, I just haven't seen it all season. I think that the ankle might have been bothering him. Remember, in August, I think there were reports of his foot was stepped on and, he missed a few practices back then. He just hasn't had that 4-1, 4-2 speed that we're used to seeing. And the offensive line isn't doing him any favors right now. Ronnie Stanley, he's banged up as well. Tyler Lindenbaum, he did not play that well in the Chiefs game compared to what we're used to seeing from him. And the guard position, Voorhees and Falele, I just don't know how we could get worse guards than the 2 that we have starting out there. You're not going to win with a porous offensive line. I don't care how many weapons you have. Ask Joe Burrow in Cincinnati how playing behind a poor offensive line is working out for him in the Bengals. It's not going to work.
Yeah, you're trying to get worse at the guard spot, though. You went and signed Kenyon Green, so congratulations on that. Interested to see how that works out for you. I noticed that they brought in Eric Kendricks as well to try to solidify the defense, and he said, "Not jumping into that dumpster fire. I will look elsewhere." But yeah, they just everything kind of fell apart against Kansas City, right? The offense had been playing very well up until that point. They scored at least 30 in every game, but they were just not able to get anything going. John was outcoached by Andy Reid as usual, and the defense, again, we talk about it all the time. They don't play with any kind of fire. They don't play with any kind of attitude. They don't play like they're angry that they've been garbage for 4 straight weeks.
Yeah,
Well, 3 out of 4 weeks, I guess. They got your boy Joe.
I've spoken to a few people at work, just wherever, and I've heard a lot of people bring that up, that Lamar doesn't look like himself. And when they say he doesn't look like himself, they're talking about running the ball. And they're like, hey, it looks like he's lost a step. It looks like he could be hurt. And I always say to myself, or I ask people, like, what does it matter if he lost a step? He's the best passer in the league. Well, what does it matter if he lost a step a little bit? He's still the most athletic quarterback in the league, or one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the league. He's still a threat running the ball. If he doesn't have that top flight speed, why does it matter so much? In fact, we only notice it in games like this because up until this game, we were putting up 30, 40 points. It wasn't an issue.
Mhm.
And this is the thing that me and B have been saying about for a while, that we don't want Lamar to have to go out there and win games with his feet. We don't want Lamar to have 700 rushing yards, 1,000 rushing yards. We want him to, run the ball when he needs to run the ball, have a couple hundred rushing yards at the end of the year, but let your running backs run the ball. When we have games like this, when nothing can get going and we expect Lamar to make plays with his feet, that's when we're like, oh, well, he's not running like he usually does. What's wrong? But we're looking at all the other things we're not looking at all the other things that are wrong with the team. Like the O-line is getting him blown up. The defense is just a turnstile, right? The play calling is horrendous. All these things are so obvious. And we should focus on that a lot more than why isn't Lamar running the ball in certain spots? He shouldn't have to. You shouldn't be expecting him to make plays with his feet. He's shown you that he can pass the ball. He's shown you that if coaching is doing their job, if he has weapons, he can move the ball down the field. So that needs to be the highlight, I think. But yes, he's not going to be 100%. No veteran is 100%, right? You're going to get dinged up. You're going to have to play through certain injuries. And, this hamstring injury right now, who knows how bad it is? If he's trying to play through it, it's not the end of the world. But I feel like if there is, any legitimacy to it, he should just sit out.
Yeah, I don't think that necessarily he's lost a step or anything like that. I mean, maybe he has, but I feel like we haven't seen him really try to push it, like run full speed. He does look hesitant to run. And, in these games in particular, that's because, one, like I said, he's been getting hit a lot. The O-line is not doing their job. They're not holding up their end of the bargain, but also defenses are spying him. And so there aren't those just wide open lanes for him to run through necessarily all the time. And Lamar is, again, a pocket passer. He wants to throw the ball, doesn't necessarily want to be running as much as he did in the past. We talked about in the last game some of those sacks being on him because he holds the ball a lot, but he holds the ball because he doesn't want to be a runner, right?
Yeah.
He's waiting for guys to come open. He wants to throw the ball down the field like is his job. And they do need to be handing the ball to Derrick Henry, but this is also why Keaton Mitchell needs to be active for Baltimore every single week, because Derrick Henry is also with 31 or 30-31, wherever he's at there. You should be handing the ball to somebody else as well. Not relying on Derrick Henry to go for 20 plus carries a week and carry your run game by himself. Give Keaton Mitchell 5 to 8 touches a week. Give Justice Hill a few touches every week. Keep Derrick Henry fresh. Make sure that Lamar is not the one having to carry the run game. And I think you'll see a much better balance from the offense. And also then the defense isn't just keying in on one or two guys, which is kind of the case right now with Rashad Bateman being mostly invisible, with Mark Andrews deciding to play once every 4 or 5 weeks, and Tez Walker and DeAndre Hopkins not really being a part of the offense necessarily. It's like every few quarters they remember those guys are on the team. Like, what if we threw one to DeAndre? And then he catches a touchdown. Like, what if we threw one to Tez and then he catches a touchdown? And so like they need, obviously it always comes back to coaching with Baltimore. But I think it would be a big help to have Keaton Mitchell out there as another option to get, like I said, 5 to 8 touches a week. And that way you can kind of keep the defense off balance, keep Derrick Henry fresh, make sure that Lamar doesn't have to carry the run game and the pass game by himself.
Yeah, because
all right, hold on 1 second. I want to go over. I'm gonna let you finish, AD. But after that, I want to go over just some like the recent transactions and what that means for the upcoming game, and then we'll talk about the Texans game. But go ahead, AD.
Yeah, you're exactly right, B. Having 4 running backs on this roster and not dressing Keaton Mitchell for any game is atrocious. I don't know what he did, why he's in the doghouse, because we know that last year the excuse was He's coming off an ACL injury. He's not himself yet. He needs time to ramp up. And it's the same exact thing with Jair Alexander. If these guys are healthy, they can't be healthy scratches. They got to play. Keaton Mitchell is averaging almost 8 yards a carry in his career. I know it's a small sample size, but he's one of the greatest change of pace guys that I've seen in a long time. He has elite speed. And when he's in the game, you have to account for him. It seems like John's excuse is, well, if he comes in the game, defenses are going to say he must be getting the ball, or, they're going to gear their defense to stop him. So what? A team can know what you're going to do and not be able to stop you sometimes. You only can do two things in football on offense. You can pass it or you can run it. You can run some sort of play action to try to trick teams, or you can run reverses, end of rounds, Philly specials, and all of these trick gadget plays. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, can I do what I want to do when I want to do it? If I want to run the football to keep time of possession and keep my defense off of the field, if I have a strong offensive line and good running backs, I still may be able to get it done regardless of if they have 8, 9 guys in the box. The good teams can run the football when they need to, and they can pass the football when they need to. The Ravens need to be able to help their defense out right now, because I don't care how much money we spent on the combination of Hamilton, Matabike, Roquan, Marlowe. Those guys are not healthy right now. And even when they were healthy, they weren't getting the job done. And it's going to be on the offense to carry this team. They're going to go as far as Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and the rest of the offensive weapons take them. And it's not going to be a 2000 Ravens defense, even a 2011, 2012 type defense. At best, we're going to be middle of the pack. And that's if we get a bunch of things cleaned up. We're probably going to be on the back half of the defenses in the league. But we have the ability to be a top 5 offense. And I think that's what the Ravens need to lay their hat on, because we don't have the defense that can get it done or the scheme right now.
Well, that's the crazy thing. We are a top 5 offense, right? For as bad as the O-line is, we are a top 5 offense. Or, I mean, after last week, I'm not sure where we ranked scoring. But going into that game, we were like number 3 in scoring. And,
we were 1.
Okay,
we were 1 in
scoring. Yeah, they're 3rd now, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, we're a top 5 offense. And that's with very little investment on the offensive side, no investment on the O-line whatsoever. And just speaking into like the transactions recently made, they went and picked up Kenyon Green off the street. Now it's funny because that's one of the guys I got wrong. That's one of the guys I wanted us to draft at the time, because his profile was he could play all over the offensive line, but he has not looked good. And there's a reason why he's available. But at this point, you got to do what you got to do and kick the tires on people. But these are the things that they should have been focused on in the offseason. And I think it's crazy to me that a team with this history doesn't take the O-line seriously. Ozzie was an O-line guy, right? Like, he put a lot of focus into getting good O-linemen here. And the biggest difference between Ozzie and EDC, because, they try to model the Ozzie Newsome strategy, right? Defense, good run game, things like that. Right player, right price type of thing. But Ozzie knew how to draft those guys later on, right? And he knew which guys to keep. And he also knew when he had deficiencies in his, in what he drafted, he would go and sign those guys. Those are the things that Eric DeCosta isn't doing. Eric DeCosta doesn't want to spend money on edge rushers. He doesn't want to spend money on cornerbacks. He doesn't want to spend money on offensive linemen. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to spend money on wide receivers. He wants to draft those guys, keep that cost minimum, pay those non-premium positions, pay those guys, get those guys that are top of those positions, and that way balance the team out and have a good team that way. They gambled with the O-line really last year. They expected them to be better this year. That's not how you run a team. You have to have a competent O-line. Even if you don't get the top guys, you have to go out and get veterans that are solid. Kevin Zeitler was a perfect example. There's no reason to not bring Kevin Zeitler back. He didn't cost that much, and he's insurance. So them not getting Kevin Zeitler, it's almost like they're trying to be bad, or they're trying to be so defiant because people are saying you need to fix the O-line, and they're just like, oh, we know better than everybody, so we're not going to go and get those guys, right? But now those guards, Voorhees, Falele, are so bad. They're dumpster diving essentially, right? They finally got Emory Jones. All of a sudden, Emory Jones can practice. Who knew? But, I was sitting there wondering, like, how bad is his injury? I thought he was supposed to be back a while ago. And like Coach Evans said, he believed that they're trying to stash him. I believe that too. But things are so bad. They're like, all right, dog, you gotta go out there and compete for the job. That's how bad the O-line has gotten. And it's damn near impossible to fix your O-line when your O-line is terrible mid-season. But that's what they're doing. Also, the other signing, well, they didn't sign him, but they're trying to sign Eric Kendricks. And he said, "Nah, I'm good." That one hurts. That one hurts. We need veterans on the defensive side of the ball. I pointed this out on the live stream yesterday or on Sunday. There's all kinds of reasons why the defense is failing, right? I think there's talent on that side of the ball. There's a lot of young talent, but the coaching is not good, obviously. But Zach Orr was set up to fail as well. His position coaches, everybody on that staff is young outside of Chuck Pagano. You have guys that, first year being on the coaching staff, second year or fourth year. Like, these guys don't have a lot of experience all around. So there's no veteran guys that can give guidance there. And of course, Harbaugh isn't a defensive coach or offensive coach, right? So he's relying on his friend Chuck Pagano. Dean Pease last year. Dean Pease did 1 year, left his son here. He's on the coaching staff, right? So you have a young group of defensive players that need to be coached up, and they're being coached by a group of coaches that are learning on the job. You cannot have both sides being young, right? If you're going to have this young coaching staff, you need guys out there that know what they're doing, that at least know how to tackle, or at least know in certain situations, all right, I need to play this, or I need to do that. They don't have that. These are guys that need to be told, and they need to experience some of those things. So not looking good, but we'll get into the Texans game. One, do you believe Lamar Jackson is going to play? And if not, are we cooked?
Yeah, I don't believe he's going to play. I do want to go back. I love the idea that John called up Dean Pease and was like, hey, I need you to come in here and consult and help out this young guy. And Dean was like, all right, but I'm going to drop my kid off. I'm going to need you to watch him. But no, I don't think Lamar's going to play. I kind of agree with was it Daniel Franklin saying that they saw the reaction and everybody's like, oh my God, the season's over because Lamar's going to miss 2 games. Like, well, maybe not. Wait till Sunday.
That's a great observation.
I don't think he's going to play, and I think it's going to be a struggle for Baltimore. And I think that without Lamar, ultimately they're going to lose. I don't think that Cooper Rush will be able to stand up to the Houston Texan rush. And I don't think that Derrick Henry is going to be nearly as effective without Lamar Jackson on the field. Not to say that he'll be bad, but I mean, the defense is going to be keying in just on Derrick Henry at that point. We know they can't run block in Baltimore, but having Lamar on the field gives them that other threat that keeps the defense honest, and they won't have that without him. And defensively, y'all are a dumpster fire, like I said. So I think that if Lamar doesn't play, they will probably lose this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a chance Lamar does play just because he knows exactly what B, that without him out there, they don't have a snowball's chance in hell. Even against the Texans, I don't see us winning that game with Cooper Rush. I would 1,000% love to be wrong, but Cooper Rush is a game manager, and the Ravens don't have an offense that allows a game manager to flourish. We don't run 7-10-yard routes. We don't have possession receivers, and the ones that we do have, we don't put on the field. Tez Walker would be perfect for that type of game plan. DeAndre Hopkins would be perfect for that game plan, but they'd rather run Tylan Wallace out there. So I don't really see the Ravens getting it done unless they commit to the run. Like, I'm talking about 40 runs against the Texans without Lamar being behind center. If Lamar is out there, of course we have a shot because he opens up things for everybody on that offense and even makes that horrendous offensive line look marginal sometimes. But Cooper Rush, he cannot move, and he doesn't have the greatest arm, and he hasn't had the time to really build chemistry. So I saw him in the preseason. He didn't impress me. He was pretty solid in Dallas, filling in for Dak Prescott, but they weren't winning those games because of him. They were winning those games because they played complementary football and they rallied around for 3 to 4 game stretches with him. So the Texans haven't looked great either. That's the one thing that we can hang our hat on is they're a 1-win team as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also predicted to be a playoff team, and their offensive line is horrendous. But I don't know if we can take advantage of their biggest weakness, which is that offensive line. CJ Stroud's been getting killed back there, just like Lamar. And who on our pass rush is actually getting home right now? Nobody's winning one-on-one matchups. And even when we're sending extra rushers, we're sending 5-6 men at a time, we're still not getting there, man. Like, we got 3 sacks on the season, 4 max in 4 games. We're averaging 1 sack a game. That's not going to get it done in the NFL.
And the thing is, the Houston Texans do have a pass rush. Baltimore may not be able to get home on CJ Stroud, but Houston will be able to get home on Cooper Rush. And we have some insights here. Thank you very much, Adelia. We're going to start off with Kyle Hamilton. Has allowed a 50% completion percentage when targeted in coverage this season, tied for the second lowest among safeties. The Ravens safety has also recorded a position most 31.5 seconds in tight coverage, while allowing only 2.3 yards of separation on his targets. So Kyle is essentially doing his job, right? He's playing well, but the problem with that is, and I hate to say this because, like I said, he is playing very well. He is doing his job, but they envision Kyle Hamilton being a game wrecker, not a guy who is covering and making tackles and just doing his job.
Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks, right? Like that combination, basically you don't want to throw on them type of thing.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, they envision Kyle specifically being a guy who's forcing turnovers, making big plays, like being that Ed Reed type of player for this defense. Like they want to build around Kyle Hamilton. Like he's the cornerstone, and he's playing well. And that's it. And that's not good enough when the rest of the unit isn't really doing their job, right?
Yeah.
Next up, what we were talking about, Will Anderson and Roger Rosengarten. Will Anderson Jr. has generated a 19.6 pressure rate this season, the 7th highest among all pass rushers. He has 3 sacks through the 4 games. Anderson's 2.51 second average time to pressure is the 4th fastest among all players, while his 11 quick pressures, which is under 2.5 seconds, are tied for 2nd most in the NFL. Anderson is lined up on the left edge on 80.2% of his snaps this season, projecting a matchup with Roger Rosengarten, who has allowed a 7.6% pressure rate this season, 12th lowest among right tackles, and a 3.68 second average time to pressure, the 2nd longest among right tackles, with at least 5 allowed pressures this season. So
now, I just want to state real quick. And what's up, E? I see you in the chat. I just want to state there was a time not too long ago where the narrative was we don't want to bring back Ronnie Stanley. We can let him go because he's not worth the money. And what's the answer at left tackle? Move Roger Rosengarten over there, and it will figure out right tackle. Now, how do you think this team will look now if we let Ronnie Stanley go and Roger Rosengarten was manning the left, and God knows who's manning the right tackle? Because this organization can't get offensive linemen. How do you think we will look now?
Like Roger's playing, he's playing well in pass blocking. I'm not the best, but he's playing well. I think those numbers are going to change after he has 4 quarters against Will Anderson. But look, he's a very decent player. He's in his 2nd year. Yep. You don't expect an elite production out of that guy. But trying to take him and throw him into left tackle and then saying whatever to right tackle is a recipe for disaster, obviously. Last up, we've got this one here about CJ Stroud versus the Ravens defense. Stroud has struggled on intermediate passes, which is 10 to 19 air yards, posting a 42.1% completion percentage, the 8th lowest in the league, and 140 yards, 7th fewest, and 0.12 EPA per attempt, which is the 13th fewest among qualified quarterbacks. This marks a significant regression from last season when Stroud excelled in the intermediate passing game with 61.1% completion percentage and 1,272 yards and a 0.61 EPA per attempt. The Ravens have shown vulnerability, shocking, against intermediate passes this season, allowing the 4th most yards, 365, a league-high 6 touchdowns, and the 7th most EPA per attempt on such throws. So this is weakness against weakness, but if I have to pick who's going to win that matchup, I'm going with CJ Stroud being able to bounce back against a team who can't pressure and can't cover. They've struggled, I think, in part because Tank Dell is missing. They don't have a lot of guys they can really rely on in the pass game right now. It's really just Nico Collins and then their tight end, Dalton
Schultz.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah. And I think that this is an opportunity for them to kind of try to get back on the right track. I mean, CJ Stroud showed you in his rookie year, he's obviously a very, very talented player. They've let the O-line regress, and they've been shifting players in and out of that O-line nonstop over the last year, trying to find a mix that works. They just now traded Cam Robinson, one of their backup tackles, to Cleveland, right? They're still trying to figure out the right mix of players on that O-line to keep, CJ upright. Yeah. But again, Baltimore was not able to get to the quarterback. So I think that O-line is going to have a decent day, and CJ is going to have time, and he's going to pick apart that Ravens coverage.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you don't park a Ferrari next to a dump truck, do you? Like, that's essentially what these guys are doing, man. You're paying quarterbacks $300 million, and you're not protecting them. Let's not get any insurance on them. Let's drive them over potholes and see how they hold up. That's not going to work, man. Like, it was always understood that when you had a preeminent top quarterback, that you protect them with an offensive line. And it seems like these two teams have the exact same philosophy when it comes down to protecting their quarterbacks. And you see why they're getting hit more than anybody. And I would lump the Bengals in there as well, because Joe Burrow is going through the exact same thing. And, the Browning has no shot out there. Like, absolutely no shot to get Jamar Chase or T. Higgins the ball. So it doesn't matter how great your weapons are. If your quarterback can't stand up right, he can't get them the ball.
Yeah. Look, we got 80 people in the chat. Hit that like button. If you're new in here, hit that subscribe button. But no, absolutely. But this is the thing. This game could be this game could shake up the franchise. All right, depending on how it goes. If Cooper Rush has to start this game, Cooper Rush has to look like a competent backup. Because like B said too, this is another thing that they haven't done is take the backup quarterback position seriously. Now, I think Cooper Rush is a solid backup, not great, but solid backup, and he has to go out there and play well against a team that's not particularly good. Like, these are the type of games that you need your backup quarterback to go in there and win for you if you have a competent team, which I don't believe the Ravens have. I believe the Ravens have put together, Eric DeCosta in particular, have put together a terrible team. They have a lot of potential, but potential isn't reality, right? Potential is potential. And these guys, a lot of these guys, most of them haven't reached their potential yet. And when you're trying to win a Super Bowl, that's not going to fly. You're hoping Lamar Jackson, covers a lot of the stuff, and he does. But if he's not playing, a lot of things can get exposed in this game. So it's got to be competitive. A competitive loss is still horrible because they're most likely not going to beat the Rams. But if you lose bad in this game at home, that's the type of thing that can get you fired. And I know we call John Harbaugh Teflon John. There's a breaking point for everyone. And this is one of those games where it may not be this week, but going after the Rams loss, going to a bye, that could be bye-bye, John.
So you think he's on the hot seat, seriously, like right now?
I look, the way Steve Bisciotti goes, it can go from cold to hot with the flip of a button, because Brian Billick was not on any hot seat, right? He got a new contract. He was reassured that he was going to be the coach going into next season. And then the last game of the season, he lost to a winless Dolphins, and then he was fired. So it can go from 0 to 60 real quick with this owner. So today, he has all the support. There's nothing wrong. Everything's fine. Just going. We've been here before. We're just going through a little slump. We'll get through it. But we lose bad at home. I mean, look, they already put it in the chat. The ticket price has already gone down, right? Already going down. They lose bad at home, and the fan base can really see how bad this team is, because I don't think people understand how bad this team is. If they go out there and get the brakes beaten off of them, and people really see how bad this team is, it could go really bad for Harbaugh.
So do y'all think the team is quitting on John right now, or do you think it's just a poorly constructed roster and coaching that's not getting it done, not scheming it up right?
Yeah, I don't think they're quitting on John. I don't think any of the players hate John. I don't think that they're clamoring for John to be gone or anything like that. But he's been there for a long time, and as the coach, you're giving the same message over and over. And I think it's just falling on deaf ears at this point, right? So I don't think they're actively saying, "Man, F John, I'm not playing for him." But I think they're not inspired, right? And that goes along with the coaching issues, right? They might think, hey, maybe Zach Orr is not the guy to be our defensive coordinator. Maybe we're not being put in position to be successful, and then we're taking the brunt of that criticism rather than the coaching staff. And it's all that kind of stuff that gets morale down. But I don't think that they're saying, man, I don't want to play for John. I'm just gonna kind of half-ass it out there. I feel like the players like John, but it's just he can't get them going anymore necessarily, right?
Yeah. I think it's not that they're quitting on him, right? But they're lost. And when you're lost out there, you will check out, because you don't know you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's what. And Marlon Humphrey said it on one of his podcasts or one of his live streams. Like they're talking to each other, like, hey, what do you think's going on out there? And he's like, man, I don't know. Right? This is a guy, he's a veteran. He played for Zach Orr last year. And when it looked like things were figured out, and he was making plays last year, even when the defense was bad, he was still making plays. He was one of the bright spots on the defense. This year, he's like, man, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I can't call it. Like, I don't know what's going on. When he says that, the rest of these guys don't know what's going on either. And when you're lost, man, like, yeah, you're gonna check out. That's not to say they quit on Harbaugh, but it's just like, hey, man, I don't know. There's something wrong. We don't know how to fix it. And that's where you got to have strong leadership. And this is where Harbaugh, who wants to pretend he's the leader of men, needs to rein it in and get some order here. But look, people are getting exposed. That's all I'm saying. This is
where I feel like they went left. AFC divisional round against Buffalo. The Ravens had one of the top run defenses in the NFL, and all season had, for the most part, been one of the worst pass defenses. Buffalo ran up and down the field with James Cook, Josh Allen, and those guys. And ever since then, I think teams have realized that their top ranking on against the run was a byproduct of them being so bad against the pass. People were just dropping back and throwing all day because they didn't think they could run on them, and they knew they could pass. Now teams know I can run up and down the field on you and pass on you. So every team in the league is testing that run defense. Kansas City rushed 39 times against us. When have you seen a Kansas City team with 39 rushing attempts?
And they have not been able to run this season at all.
Yeah. And they ran 39 times. All three of their running backs.
Do it tonight. But to Jose's point about the owner kind of flipping. Yeah, owners don't like to get embarrassed, right? They don't like to have things blow up in their face, and having the Houston Texans come into Baltimore and beat down the Ravens would be an embarrassing thing for Steve Bisciotti, and that could be something that triggers him. Like, you know what? Maybe I don't need John here. And as far as the fans, I think that the fans do expect a bad defense. They've seen that. They see it obviously this year. They saw it last year. They saw it even with the first season with Mike McDonald. Like that's been up and down, right? But they can tell themselves, hey, that's just coaching. We've got talent there. On the offensive side, the offense has always been good because it's been Lamar Jackson. And then fans will say, hey, it's not just Lamar. We've got Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's a great running back. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, those are good wide receivers. We've got the top tight end room in the NFL with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar. And, offensive line's good enough. But if they go out there and it's Cooper Rush and the fans are expecting those other guys to step up and help carry that offense, and let's say Derrick Henry goes out there 15 carries for 40 yards, right? And Rashad Bateman has another one catch game, and Zay Flowers can't get going, and even Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews aren't making plays, and that offensive line's getting beat down, and they're not scoring points. Then it's like, well, we know that the defense is bad because of coaching. We know there's talent there, but the coaching is not, it's not allowing them to be successful. What happened to the offense? Right?
They'll be saying this.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
That's exactly what'll happen. They'll be like, well, where's King Henry? Why didn't he go for 150 on Houston? Why is Rashad Bateman not scoring touchdowns? Why is Zay Flowers not getting loose? Why can't this team do anything? And that is when I think, you see a lot of people's opinion turn if they're not able to move the ball and score points on Houston. You're like, well, what happened to all these other guys on this offense who we thought were playmakers, who we thought were good?
Yeah. That's why they can't. This who would have thought this is a make or break week for a Harbaugh, and Lamar Jackson may not be the quarterback to save his job. Lamar Jackson can't be his champion for this one.
I love it. It's like, it kind of reminds me of that scene in Game of Thrones where Tyrion, they're like, hey, I want a trial by combat, and he's like, I want my brother Jaime Lannister, and they're like, we're not waiting for Jaime, pick somebody here. Like, that's where John's at right now. He's like, no, you can't have Lamar. Look in that room and get one of them guys. And he's like, I guess Cooper. I don't know.
All right, let's make some quick predictions here. All right, so one, we don't believe Lamar Jackson is going to play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play either. I think they're going to lose. I think they're going to lose bad. They need to at least be competitive. Like, there's a chance for a Harbaugh to keep his job if they lose a game and it's close, right? Because you're showing that you're still a competitive team, and it shows that the team didn't completely quit on you. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be close in the first half. In the second half, it's going to get away from them because of that Texans defense. They're going to force a couple turnovers. There might even be like a pick six or a fumble return for a touchdown or something like that. It's going to be something that's just going to really pull the game away. I think they lose 27-10.
Okay, we did get a cash app from D Weezy. Thank you very much. He says, for the Panthers finish better than the Ravens, still alive.
Yeah, it is. For now, it is.
Thank you very much, Derek. Appreciate you. Adrian, your thoughts on or your prediction for the game?
We're going to lose. I don't think Lamar plays. Just like you guys, I feel like the prudent thing to do is make sure he's healthy coming out of the bye. But by then, we might be 1-5 and need to go on a 10-1, 10-2 type run to even make the playoffs. So I think that we'll lose 28-13. I think we'll get one more field goal. Shout out to Tyler Luke. But we're not going to get it done. The combination of Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson against this offensive line. And then you got what's my man in the secondary? Stingley. Oh man, Stingley's a dog too, man. Like, they got some ballers out there. I know that they've been terrible this year, but they're better than us right now, and they're healthier than us right now. And I think that's what it comes down to. And I would take DeMeco Ryans any day right now over John Harbaugh, head coach. Just me personally.
Yeah. I think that Houston wins as well. I think they win 2017, which would be an offensive explosion for Houston. But you're right. We didn't really mention Danielle Hunter. He has 4 sacks so far this season to go with Will Anderson's 3. So that's 7 for the 2 of them through 4 games. That it's a fearsome pass rush that they have over there in Houston, and it's not really a fearsome offensive line in Baltimore. So I think that's going to be unfortunate for Cooper Rush. I think that Derrick Henry does have a good day, not a great day. And I think they put up 17, but it's just not enough with the Ravens defense having their second best day of the season, but still not going out there and winning the game like defenses are supposed to.
Now, do you think if the score is that close, that will help save Harbaugh's job? No. Okay.
I don't think so, because I think that if you lose to Houston, and then if Lamar plays or not, there's a good shot you lose to the Rams. Like, the Rams are a good team.
Yes.
Puka Nacua is going to do whatever he feels like against that defense.
Yes.
So I think that they, at this point, if Lamar is out for Houston, I think they end up 1-5 going into their bye. And if you were a Super Bowl caliber team in the preseason or in the offseason, and you start out 1-5, you have to be thinking about firing your coach at the bye.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're not serious, right? Yeah. You're absolutely right, and it's a pride thing, because other owners, like the Eagles owner, they're gonna be when they have their meetings, and you're like, hey, Steve, what happened over there? I thought you were better than that, right? It's those little comments, those little digs, right, where it's like, yeah, man, yeah, you're supposed to be competing for a Super Bowl, and you're 1-5 now. You can't. Nobody's going to take you serious if you're saying you're trying to win a Super Bowl and you start out that way and you don't make any moves at all.
Now, is Monken the interim coach at that point? Does he have to come down from the booth and actually stand on the sideline like a coach?
I'll tell you, it damn sure ain't Zach Orr.
No. I think Todd Monken, and I think Todd Monken would do a better job than Harbaugh at this point. Not even saying that he's a great coach. One, he's much better on offense. I think the play calling that you see going on right now is a large part due to John Harbaugh interfering with the offensive side, right? Meddling with the offensive side. Derrick Henry coming out the game on 3rd and 1 is not Todd Monken's call. Derrick Henry coming out the game 4th and 1 is not Todd Monken's call. These are play calls that are consistent throughout the years, no matter who the offensive coordinator is. This is John Harbaugh's style. And the only time the offense looked different was the one time the Ozzie stepped in and said, I'm going to pick your offensive coordinator and he's going to call the offense. That was when Gary Kubiak was here, right? And Gary Kubiak didn't have to listen to Harbaugh when Harbaugh said, do this, do that. Gary Kubiak ran the offense. That was Joe Flacco's best year. The only time I think he threw 4,000 yards, right? And he moved on and got a head coaching job and won a Super Bowl. So whatever, screw him. Yeah. But yeah. Tom Monken would be the guy, and I think just because he doesn't have the same ego as Harbaugh, he's more open to trying different things, and I think he would have the players' ear a little bit more. You can turn things around with Tom Monken in the interim. I wouldn't sign him long term, but in the interim, I think he.
Here's a question from Kwame. Will Bisciotti do it though? I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. I think that when you're sitting at 1-5, now I think they should fire John Harbaugh. But I thought they should have fired John Harbaugh 7 years ago. And if you're at 1-5 going into your bye, I think you should fire your head coach. But I don't think Bisciotti will do it, because I think he'll look at it and say, we're 1-5, season's not going anywhere anyway, and I'm not going to embarrass John by firing him mid-season. We'll wait to the offseason and let him resign, if he's open to that, or let go of him at the end of the season. But we're not going to embarrass him by having him be the first coach fired in the year.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, look, we can get into some Panthers talk, but first, we still have 80 strong in here. Hit that like button. If you're new in here, hit that subscribe button. Look, after this show, we do another show called the Overtime Show. That is for our channel members and also our Patreon members. You guys know how to sign up on the channel. If you want to sign up on Patreon, which is the preferred method, and the tried and true method, okay, patreon.com/LBHTShow is how you do that. You get all kinds of perks over there. $5 a month gets you access to the Overtime Show, which happens after every show on Wednesday. Also get you access to our Discord channel. And even if you don't stay a member, we don't kick anybody out of the Discord, right? We're trying to build a community over there. So it's well worth the price of admission. For a little bit more, $10, you got an LBHT crew coin. Mine's packed up right now. I had to move out my studio right now. We're doing some renovations. But you got an LBHT crew coin. You also have some Ring Kings playing cards at a higher tier. We got all kinds of different perks. So go and check it out. Also, LBHTShow.com. That is where you can buy our merch. This is one of the legacy shirts. You can still, like, if you want this, you can special order it. But we have a newer design on this. We kind of have an updated design that says "Be More Bleeds Purple." I'll bring it up for you. Look at that right there. Look at that clean design. Look at that. Look at that. And for Panthers fans, Panthers Nation, I know they've been waiting patiently to get the Panthers talk. We got a shirt for you right there. All right. And for
and that's still accurate because they won their only game in division. So
there you go. And for those of you who like to verbally assault other podcasters, just because you like to represent LBHT crew, there you go. Fells Point Mafia. That's for you. Okay. If you know, you know. All right. So go get your merch over on LBHTshow.com and sign up for the newsletter. I know people have been asking me where's the newsletter. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. A new one's coming out very soon. We're gonna have a lot of content in there, but go sign up. Okay, let's get to some Panthers talk. B. Let's do a quick recap of the Patriots game. B.
Yeah, they lost. They lost. So moving on to next week's game.
No. Let's recap what happened. It started out.
Miami.
It started out just like the Ravens game, right? And both times I didn't learn from the Panthers game. I did the same thing in the Ravens game. The Panthers, they went right down the field, scored a touchdown. And I said, easy money. That's what I put in Discord. Easy money. Because I knew they were still keeping the momentum going from last week, and they're just going to light it up. They even stopped the Patriots on the next drive. And I was like, here we go. They just want to open it up. And then they didn't. Score touchdown, missed the extra point. I was like, no worries. He'll get plenty of chances of that. And he did not. And it just got ugly.
Yeah. Special teams didn't come to play.
No.
The defense, I want to say they did an admirable job, but I'd kind of be lying. I like the effort. Not so much the execution and things like that. The offense, I don't even know, like, because it wasn't anything that broke down, right? The offensive line didn't do a great job. Obviously, they've got some backups on the O-line. Iquanu is basically a backup on the O-line, but they, were still able to run the offense. Bryce had an okay day. He protected the ball. He missed some throws, but he made some nice throws. Chuba Hubbard had 10 carries for 49 yards. It's not enough carries for Chuba, but not a terrible day running the ball. But they just don't have the firepower to sustain drives, score points. And when things started going poorly with the special teams, it all just kind of fell apart on them. They weren't able to really fight back and get themselves back into the game. Eventually, they pulled Bryce Young because, the game was over. He wasn't even getting beat up. He got sacked once, but, the game was over score-wise. They ended up losing 42-13. They put in Andy Dalton. He went right down the field, scored a touchdown against, a pretty soft defense at that point. Yeah. But what it really came down to is Tetairoa McMillan's out there. He had 4 catches on 8 targets for 62 yards. right? None of the other receivers did anything.
No.
Not really.
David Moore got hurt on the first play.
Yeah, but David Moore is a special teams guy anyway. You're not expecting anything out of him on offense. Bryson Tremaine is out there, masquerading as the number 2 wide receiver because Xavier Legette is out. Jalen Coker was still on IR at that point. They just don't have enough talent. That's really all it comes down to, and that's on both sides of the ball. And when you don't have enough talent, like you always say, you have to execute, and they did not.
Right.
So a team like New England, who, they have a strong defense, they've got a decent little offense there, but nothing overwhelming. But they went out there and they executed properly, and they moved the ball. They put up points. That punt returner, I mean, he punched his ticket into the Hall of Fame in that game. So yeah, it was a very, very, very bad day all the way around. But they get to try again next week. So they're going up against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. What do you think, AD? You got any thoughts on this game?
Yeah. After seeing Carolina obliterate Atlanta, I had a lot of hopes that they will continue that momentum. I know it was a divisional opponent. I know this is Michael Penix's first season as a starter, but obviously he was in college for like 10 years, so he's damn near 30. Let's keep it real. I just felt like, Drake May hasn't been all that great. The Patriots, ever since Tom left, have been a middling to embarrassing franchise since then. So I thought that they had a good chance in this game, and they came out and they went to bed. I expect a lot more from the Panthers. They have a lot of talent on that team. They definitely have improved, but this was a huge step back, though. Like, you take two steps forward to take 5 steps back, and that's what they did. But it's just one game. Their expectations aren't the same as the Ravens. Nobody talking about the Panthers being a Super Bowl team, but we expected to see them hovering around 500. I think a lot you two guys felt like they could make the playoff run, or at least 8-9 wins. Yeah, you thought they could win a division, and they still can win a division. This division, every year it seems like the Bucs win it with like 9 wins, 9 and 8, or 10 and 7 at best. So the Panthers still have a chance to win 9 games, or maybe even 10 games. They just got to flush this down the toilet and forget that it even happened, because they're better than what they showed on Sunday. And the Patriots are damn sure not as good as what they showed on Sunday.
I want to respond to Kwame's comments here. He says, y'all got to beat the Dolphins. Y'all got to beat the Texans. How about that? All right.
We're going to get to the Dolphins game.
Don't get in my business. He says, fire sale? Like, what do you want? They asked for JC Horn. If you walked into the Carolina Panthers store, which item are you picking up and taking to the register, Kwame?
They said JC Horn. That's what they're asking about in the chat. They asked about JC Horn. They said, "What you want for JC Horn?"
Listen. Y'all can have JC. He's a good player. he is a good player, and he's playing well.
Yeah,
doesn't make a difference at this point. And I think that I don't think he's overpaid, but I think he's paid on a team that doesn't really need his services right now. You obviously want to have talent on the defense. You don't want to just shed talent when you're already bad. But if they can get quality picks for him, I think that's better than keeping JC Horn right now.
Is he the highest paid corner in the league, or second highest?
No. He was, I think, when he signed
a couple days.
He wasn't even the highest paid because he came in right below Pat Surtain, who was picked right after him, and then he won a Defensive Player of the Year. And not relevant, but he was like 3rd or 4th, and then obviously some other guys got signed. So his contract's not bad. It's not bad, but for right now, I think that they would be better off getting a couple of day 2 picks or something like that, and reinvesting those into the O-line, maybe getting more weapons on offense. Hell, go draft 2 corners, right? You get 2 corners, 3 quarters as good as JC Horn. You're better off than just having JC Horn. But they need some linebackers desperately. They desperately need linebackers. And they just have a lot of holes. So moving one guy who honestly, he's not like the top of the league corner. Move him and maybe get a couple picks, and if you can hit on those picks, you're probably better off. This isn't a Micah Parsons situation where you're trading a guy who's like the best at his position, and then you're going to miss on those picks because you're Jerry Jones. So outside of that, what does it say? Oh no, I'm not reading that.
They're offering Owe for JC Horn.
Well, you know that's not fair, straight up. But we'll take Owe. We'll take Owe and a pick.
Well, what did they get in the McCaffrey trade? Did they get 4 first rounders? What did they get?
No, we're not going to talk about that trade, and we're not going to talk about.
So they didn't win. So they didn't win that trade.
They got several day 2 and 3 picks, and what they did with a couple of those picks is they packaged them together and they traded them to move up in the draft, and they took a young man by the name of DJ Johnson, who wasn't really a young man at the time he was drafted. Not in terms of the NFL. He was an older gentleman when he was drafted, and he was drafted to be an edge rusher, a position he didn't know how to play. And then they were like, "Oh my God, you don't know how to play edge rusher?" He's like, "Nah, I told you I don't know how to play edge rusher. I was playing tight end last week." And then they were like, "Well, good luck." And then a couple years later, they were like, "Well, we got to let you go, son."
Yeah,
he got cut the day after the Patriots game.
All right, you want to get into this Dolphins game because they want to know if the Panthers have a chance. All right, Panthers.
We have a chance. Man, y'all are disrespectful. All right, look, we got some insight for this as well. Ike Ekwonu, the Panthers left tackle, has given up. This is it. This is an incredible insight. 18 pressures on 120 pass blocks. That's 15%, which ranks as the 5th highest pressure rate allowed among left tackles. Now, this next part is what's really, really phenomenal. Despite playing in only 3 of the team's 4 games, he leads all Panthers offensive linemen with 18 total pressures allowed. In the Week 4 loss against the Patriots, Ekwonu surrendered a team-high 5 pressures and the only sack allowed by the Panthers. That man is committed. He said, "I'm going to be number 1 in something, and I'm not good enough to be the number 1 blocker, so I'm going to let these dudes through at an extraordinary rate."
And yes, IB is asking if Tyreek Hill got hurt. Yes, he is done for the season.
He got hurt a lot.
It's ACL and MCL, I think.
Yeah, they said multiple ligaments and a knee dislocation. They said he's going to need several surgeries, but that he will. They think he's going to be fine for the start of next season.
Kwame said, "It sounds like y'all have your own Nigerian nightmares."
That's not, man. I gotta stop talking about Nigerians. That is not what this show is going to be known for.
No.
Devin Achane against the Panthers defense. Devon has forced a missed tackle on 26% of his carries this season, 9th highest, and has gained 36.7% of his yards after a missed tackle. The Panthers have recorded just 13 total missed tackles on rushes by running backs this season, the 6th fewest in the league. Yeah, take that, Baltimore. Their missed tackle rate on such rushes stands at 15.9%, the 3rd lowest in the league. And it's kind of what I was alluding to with the Panthers defense. The effort is there. They are playing hard. They're playing better, I think, now than at the start of the season, even though it's only 4 weeks. I think they've gotten progressively better. It's just not an overly talented group, and they've had some injuries on that side of the ball as well that haven't helped. But when fully healthy, as the season goes on, as you predicted before the season started, I think they'll be a competent enough defense. They really have to flip the script on offense and get going there.
I know a lot of Panthers fans were really upset about this last game, and I get it because you dominated the Falcons. You're thinking, oh yeah, you're moving up, and then you just completely get blown out by the Patriots. You didn't see that coming, and now you felt like you've been lied to a little bit, But this is just how the season's going to go for the Panthers. They're going to be up and down, right? And by the end of the season, they'll play a little bit more cohesive like they did last year. And this is an evaluation season. You have to kind of see who's going to stick, who's not. I know. Look, you're a fan. You want to watch the games now. You want to see them play well now. And there are guys that you expect to do better, and they're not. So you're frustrated. you get those guys out of here. But stick with Dave Canales, right? He's not going to make all the right moves right away. He's a young coach himself, but I think this team is trending in the right direction. It's just, look, man, when you're really trying to change the culture there, you're trying to. I mean, like you guys made a lot of bad moves, and really you should be looking at Dave Canales. You should be looking at David Tepper, but everybody has to just kind of weather the storm, trust the process. They will look a lot better next year, even this year, towards the end of the season. But look, the Dolphins got talent, and they were kind of in that boat too, where it's like, well, we can just give up on the season, but they just beat the Jets. They played their best football to date this season, but of course they can be beat. Of course, like they have a lot of talent, but they're not. They haven't been playing good football, but who knows? I mean, this is going to be a tough game for them, but we'll see how the Panthers respond from getting beat the way they got beat last week.
Yeah, they've got less of it now with Tyreek Hill out.
Yes.
But for Teteroa McMillan against the Dolphins defense, Teteroa has been targeted in press man coverage on 41.7% of his routes this season, tied for sixth highest among receivers. The Panthers rookie has recorded 5 receptions for 84 yards against press man, ranking second most in both categories. The Dolphins play press man coverage on 18.8% of dropbacks, the 11th highest rate in the NFL, and above the league average of 15.9%. The thing is, like, that's good for Teteroa, and that would say that, hey, maybe he's going to have some opportunities here. Why would you do it against Carolina if you're Miami? Like, why would you play press man against him if you know that he's that effective? You don't have to worry about Bryson Tremaine. You definitely don't have to worry about Xavier Legette. You don't really have to worry about Chuba Hubbard's day-to-day right now. I don't even know if he's going to play in this game. You don't have to particularly worry about Tommy Tremble or Mitchell Evans. Jatavian Sanders is still out. Hunter Renfrow, listen, if he runs past 4 yards, forget it. So, like, maybe they just feel like, hey, we're going to go and play our game, and this is part of our game. But I think the smart defensive coordinator says, well, we're not going to give him any advantage, right?
Yeah.
If that's something that he's adept at beating, then we're just not going to do it. And we'll kind of bracket him and or give safety help and just kind of let Bryce try to find somebody else to move the ball.
Yeah, and I think it's a critical year for Bryce Young. This is his 3rd season. He got benched at the beginning of last year. They brought Andy Dalton in. I was at the Panthers' first game. They're cheering Andy Dalton. Andy comes in and he proves that he's Andy Dalton. And they go back. They go back to Bryce, and Bryce played very well. I think the last 5 or 6 games of the season.
Yeah.
This season, though, you drafted number 1 overall, right in front of C.J. Stroud. When you draft a guy number 1 overall, by year 3, you want to see that this is a franchise guy. And I know they haven't done the most to help him. He has talent around him. I feel like he should have more talent around him. But he has to play with who they put out there on the field. He's not making any excuses, and he can't make any excuses. He has to get it done this season. I'm not saying they have to make the playoffs, but at least 7 wins this season, I think will give him at least another season to prove that he's the guy. If he doesn't get to that 7-win mark, they might be shopping for a quarterback in the offseason, either a veteran to push him or somebody in the first round that ultimately will probably take his job in the long run. So he's under the microscope. He's under a lot of pressure. Same thing happened to Anthony Richardson, and now Daniel Jones took that job right from under him. Could happen to Bryce Young in the next year or so.
Okay, so all right. So
negative.
I want to. We'll look. We're gonna let's do these predictions, and then let's circle back to that Bryce Young topic because I want to talk about that. Like, what do you guys see? Like, how do you view Bryce Young at this point? And how do you think the team views Bryce Young at this point? But let's give our score predictions for this game. You go ahead, B.
I think Carolina gets the win. I think they bounce back from that terrible performance last week. I think that I'm waiting every week for Teteroa to blow up. I think it's coming. He's obviously a talented player. He's making great catches every week. He does have some bad drops as well, but he is making plays for them every week. I think that this week we are going to see the best Panthers offense that we've seen up to this point. I think they get the win 27-20.
AD?
Yeah, I'm going to go Panthers 2017. I think losing Tyreek Hill is a huge blow. If Tyreek was still there, I definitely would pick Miami in this game. Jalen Waddle is not a number one, and I think that he's not going to be able to get it done as that number one. And even so, they don't have a legit number two behind Waddle right now. So what are they really banking on offense when it comes to the Dolphins? Devin A-Chain is going to have to carry the load, and he's not a bell cow of a running back. He's more of a hybrid guy that likes to catch it out the backfield. So I see the Panthers being able to kind of stymie that offense a little bit, just enough for them to score 20.
Darren Waller. You forgetting Darren came back.
Darren Waller about 40. He about 40 years old, man.
He scored 2 touchdowns already. Okay.
Like 3-yard variety back in. I saw the back of the end zone touchdown against the Jets. That was very impressive, but
yeah,
I just don't think that Tua has enough weapons right now to really put the pressure on Carolina the way that you think they might, especially with Tyreek out. He's just a huge chunk of everything they do in Miami.
I'm gonna go with you guys. I'm gonna pick the Panthers. I think last week was a wake-up call. Like this is the type of team that all hands need to be on deck. They need to put forth their best foot every week, right? They need to be, just high effort every week. And when they do, they can surprise some people. But if they feel like they can coast the next game because they're like, oh, it's just this team or whatever, we'll be all right, then they'll get beat because they're not that talented. But after getting smacked the way they got smacked, they woke up. And I think Canals is gonna make sure that they're up for this game. And yeah, the Dolphins, not having Tyreek Hill, that he's an X factor for sure. I think the Panthers get the win. I'm gonna say I think there's gonna be some touchdowns scored in this game though. I'm gonna say they're gonna win 35-28.
And just circling back to the Bryce conversation, I think that Adrian's right. He has to. This is the third year, and they're still kind of looking at him and saying, "Is this our guy or is this not our guy?" Because he plays. He has stretches where he plays well, and then there's stretches where you're like, "Man, was he a 5th-round pick?" And that's not all on him. The offense is not very talented. The offensive line is falling apart around him early in the season already. I'm going to take the silver lining and just say, hey, worst case scenario, like they extend him and he's not going to cost $60 million. So that's nice.
I feel like watching the New England game, he didn't really play bad in my opinion, right? I feel like Canals is protecting him a little bit because Canals knows this team isn't where he wants it to be, even just on the offense. And he's just calling safe plays. And I can see sometimes they get into it. I noticed that when the first week when they were playing the Jaguars, he went for it on 4th down, right there, 4th and goal, I believe. And he threw the ball like out the back of the end zone. Nobody was open. And he was mad. And he went to the sideline and was arguing with Canales. And Canales was like, just calm down. And I feel like Canales told him, look, throw it away if nobody's clearly open, even if it's 4th down, because Canales just knows like outside of Teteroa, nobody can really make a play on it. And I don't think Canales is that worried about wins this year. He wants Bryce to get comfortable. He wants Bryce to stay upright. He wants him to have the reps and keep his confidence up. This is exactly what they did for Kirk Cousins in Washington, right? We're not going to do anything risky. Check down, play it safe, get your numbers up, get your confidence up, and then, we could try to start adding some talent around you. I think that's kind of the game plan with Canales and Bryce Young. Canales ain't trying to get him blown up, not trying to do anything risky with him. We'll pick your spots where you can have good games. Other games, you're just going to play it safe, and we take the L. We're not worried about it.
Yeah, but in order to play like that, the defense has to play like they played against Atlanta. Because if the defense is forcing turnovers, and you're not going to get a shutout every week, obviously. Like, I don't think there was any other shutouts this season other than the one that Carolina put on Atlanta. It's the only one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you're not going to be able to do that every week, but you got to hold teams to 20 points, 23 points or below to play that conservative style. That's what New York tried to do with Daniel Jones, and that's why he never really developed there. You see Indiana kind of let the training wheels off of Daniel Jones. Now, he has more talent around him. You got Jonathan Taylor. You know, you got some weapons in the receiving game like Pittman out there. The young rookie tight end in Indianapolis is phenomenal too. So when you have those weapons, you can do more, but still take the training wheels off Bryce Young. Let him throw it down the field. Tetairoa McMillan can get down the field. I don't know about Leggett. When Jalen Coker comes back, that kid can play as well. Like, you got to start using your weapons on the outside, and that loosens up the running game for Chuba Hubbard and the rest of those guys, man. So that's what they're going to have to do. Teams are playing close to the line of scrimmage against Carolina because they're not expecting anybody to run down the field. And they're throwing 7-yard passes, 10-yard passes. You're playing right into the defense because that's where all the defenders are. They're like, go ahead, beat us deep. Throw a 30-yard route. You got to do that sometimes. Open the game up with a go route and try to get Tetairoa 30 yards down the field and then see how the defense adjusts and reacts to that. I think that's what Carolina needs a little bit more of.
Well, the problem with that is that Tetairoa is the only guy who could do that. And you know, he's getting a lot of attention. Like, if you look at some of the plays, I can't remember if it was New England or Atlanta, probably both, but they've got just two guys lined up on Tetairoa, you know, pre-snap, because who else are you worried about, right? You can try to force throws downfield to him, and they have at times, but like I said, there's no other guy on the field who you could even contemplate, you know, throwing it deep to. Like I said, you're not throwing it 30 yards downfield to Bryson Tremaine. You can't even wait long enough for Hunter Renfrow to get that far down the field. Like, you know, Jatavian Sanders, he has a little bit of playmaking ability to it, but he's out. Xavier Leggett is kind of the speed guy on this offense. He's been out the last couple of weeks, and he can't get open and he can't catch. So
what about the rookie Jimmy Horn? He can't get on the field?
He hasn't been active yet this season. Yeah. Hopefully, I hate to say this because Dave Moore got hurt. You know, he got a serious elbow injury. They're going to be putting him on IR, but hopefully that kind of opens a path for Jimmy Horn to get on the field and just at least see what they've got in him. You know, people were raving about him in training camp, right? And then preseason comes, and you didn't really see anything from him in preseason, and now he's been inactive for 4 straight weeks. But you know, we'll see if he gets the opportunity to actually play. But as of right now, they don't have any home run hitters on offense. You know, that could have changed if Tetairoa held on to a couple of passes that downfield that he could have made a catch on. They are difficult catches, but you know, those are the plays that you got to make sometimes. But the problem is you have the offense relying on a rookie. You know, in Tetairoa, you have it in relying on a third-year quarterback who hasn't really found his way yet. You know, and I thought that coming into the season, you would be really, really heavily leaning on Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, who are both 1,000-yard backs last season. But when you make mistakes early in the game and you get behind early in the game, you can't do that as much.
Yeah. All right. We're going to move on because we're almost an hour and a half, man. Still got 75 people in here strong, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all love this show. I'm glad you're loving the show. Show your love with the sub. Okay, subscribe, share with your friends and loved ones. Spread the word because we have some goals, some big goals to meet. Okay, we're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers. I think we can do it. All right, we're off to a good start. Not paying Burns was dumb. Well, look, man.
No, I mean, look, Burns is a little older. Burns,
he's good. But
also, you know, in Carolina, he did not play the way he's playing now. Like, he's leading the league in sacks right now. He struggled to get over 8 sacks in Carolina. But he's in New York. He's playing next to Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, and that's showing. And that's great for him. But, you know, they chose to go the younger route. Now, what was dumb was not trading him for the 2 first-round picks that the Rams offered you.
Yes.
So, you know, you turn down those 2 first-round picks, and then you don't keep him. That looks pretty bad because they eventually traded him for 2 seconds and then didn't even use both of those. But no, I mean, I think he was kind of out of the timeline for Carolina for this team because they're really resetting. But I mean, Brian's over there. He's doing his thing. He's finally able to really kind of flourish with some other talent around him. So good for him.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a court of public opinion. B, I wasn't sure if you even seen this clip or not, but this is we got a coach fight, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we got Robert Saleh versus Liam Cohen, the head coach of the Jaguars. Robert Saleh, former head coach of the Jets, defensive coordinator for the 49ers. Excellent defensive coordinator, by the way. And they got into it after the game. The Jaguars beat the 49ers, and Liam Cohen was feeling himself, and this is how the interaction went down.
26 and the 49ers 21. Be sure to join us right back.
All right. So Liam Cohen was saying, "Keep my name out your mouth," okay? Like he was Will Smith. He kind of walked up to him like he was going to slap him, and then he got a little closer. He's like, "You a little strong. Okay, you got some muscles, man. I'm gonna back up a little bit. My guys are gonna hold me back."
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know how much you guys have heard about this. I had to read up on it. I was just like, well, what did he say to him? But apparently Robert Saleh, had said something about him before the game. And he didn't appreciate what was said. I went and looked at that clip, but before we get to that clip, what is your guys' take on that? Like, how do you feel about this coach-on-coach violence?
Well, I didn't see any punches get thrown, so
verbal violence, okay? Like, those were harsh words, okay?
I mean, it's football, man. It's a violent game, so if they're violently talking about each other or to each other, I'm not mad at that. No punches were thrown, nobody got hurt. I don't know if you want to mess with Robert Saleh. Like, I don't think you mess around too much. But hey, man, it's competitive as long as it's within the lines of football, and you don't cross the line and get to the personal stuff. So I don't know exactly what was said. If neither one of them started talking about each other's family or started hitting each other with low blows, I'm cool with it. You could say he's a trash coach or he's not getting the job done. That's competitive there. So if they kept it at that, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I love this kind of stuff. One of my favorite moments in football history came from the college game when Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll met at midfield, and Pete Carroll's like, "Yo, what's your deal, man?" And Harbaugh looks at him, he's like, "What's your deal?" Right? Like, because Pete didn't like the way they closed out the game, and Harbaugh's like, "Man, deal with it." Right? I don't like the kind of the buddy thing. Like, it doesn't bother me, but I much prefer athletes and coaches that dislike each other genuinely.
I think it makes it so much better when the coaches dislike each other, because now they're really invested in this game, right? Like they badly want to beat that other team. They want to beat that coach. I love it. Now, what sparked all this? Robert Saleh. Well, okay. Well, I'll play, and you tell me what part you think Liam Cohen didn't like.
A couple of guys coming from Minnesota, they've got legally a really advanced signal stealing type system where they always find a way to put themselves in an advantageous situation. They do a great job with it. They formation you to try to find any nugget they can. So we've got to be great with our signals, and we got to be great with our communication, and to combat some of the tells that we might give on the field. So they're almost elite in that regard. That whole entire tree, from Sean to Kevin O'Connell to all those guys, they all do it. So so there's challenges. They're going to catch us in some situations where they have the advantage, and we just got to play good, sound, fundamental football and do our best to execute them.
Yeah.
Now, what part do you think got Liam mad? And he said, "Keep my name out your mouth."
Well, I know what he was upset about. Go ahead, Adrian.
It was the legal signal stealing, because that's an oxymoron. Like, how do you legally steal something? If I stole something, it was illegal to begin with. So I think that's what pissed him off.
And
That wasn't it.
Basically,
That was it.
accusing him of cheating. And I'm saying, like, no, he wasn't there. He was complimenting them because
Yes.
it is legal to steal signals in the game. They're not cheating like the Patriots and going and filming your practice or anything like that. They are being observant. And he's saying that they're switching up their formations and trying to get you to show them what your signals are and what your signals mean. And they pick up on it and they use that to their advantage. He's complimenting that entire coaching tree.
Right.
And Liam's in his feelings because he's the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's probably not going to be their coach very much longer. And he wanted to fight about it.
That's exactly it. He said signal stealing, and he forgot that this is football, not baseball. And he's just like, I'm not Bush League. What are you talking about? And I think Robert Saleh kind of he stressed legal. Like, I'm not saying he's cheating. I think that's what you're saying. Like the legal kind, not the Bill Belichick kind of stealing. Like, they're good at diagnosing defenses, diagnosing plays. And I didn't play the clip after their incident, but he did come back and clarify. It's like, listen, maybe I could use better choice of words, but this is what I meant. I just meant he's good at his job. He's good at diagnosing defenses, and we're trying to prepare for that. I actually loved I love Kyle Shanahan's response to this. Somebody asked him about it, and he just said Liam just needs to stop being sensitive. And I was like, damn. So, listen, Robert Saleh not guilty. Liam Cohen's guilty. Stop being sensitive, like Kyle Shanahan said. All right. It's not a big deal. He was trying to compliment you. You won the game, man. You won the game. You're shaking hands, walk away. Don't try to get in this man's face who could fold you like a lawn chair and be like, keep my name out your mouth like you're Will Smith and he's Chris Rock. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. And then when he walks up to you, then it's, hey, back me up, back me up, back me up. Guys, get in front of us.
He did like Skylar Thompson should have. He called for the offensive line. He was like, get in front of me. He's like, wall.
Yes. All right. So that's a quick, easy one, painless one. Okay. Not guilty, Robert Saleh. Liam Cohen, you're guilty. Get out of my courtroom. Okay. Let's get to, all right, we're at an hour and a half. We're gonna speed this up. We're gonna do the submitted questions, and then we're gonna start this overtime show. You want to be a part of this. This one's gonna be a good one. Nafisa Collier from the WNBA had a lot to say about the commissioner. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about EA. You guys like EA? You like Madden? You like Call of Duty? Okay, all right. Well, you might see some Riyadh season Madden little DLC games. You might see, you might see some changes to your Call of Duty because the Saudis now own EA.
What, Turkey Al-Sheikh?
They have purchased
the PIF and Jared Kushner and Silver Lake.
Yeah, who Turkey reports to? That's who bought it.
Yeah, but they bought it for $55 billion, and then EA took on $20 billion in debt.
Yeah, PIF. That's the public investment fund. That is the Saudi Arabian government. The government purchased Electronic Arts. EA.
They're going to own America soon at this rate. They buying everything.
Hey, we're going to talk about it on the overtime show. You want to be a part of that? Patreon.com/LBHTShow is how you do that. Also, if you're a YouTube member, the link is there in the members section, on the members post, so you can check it out that way. Call of Duty isn't EA. Battlefield is though. Oh, you're right.
That's Blizzard, right?
Yes.
Call of Duty is Activision. Yeah, Activision. Blizzard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, okay, we have some questions. We got a couple questions. Do you have them up, B?
Yeah. This one's from AKA Young Wild. I know you guys put a lot of stock into always double-digit sacks last year, and before this season, you thought they should pay him. After watching him do nothing when they've needed him the most this year, has your opinion changed? Personally, I compare his double-digit sacks in 2024 to Gus Edwards' double-digit touchdowns in 2023. They look funny in the light. Well, one,
That's a good question. Thank you for the
nobody,
question.
we're not talking like he's an elite pass rusher when we talk about his double-digit sacks.
No.
Both of those guys had double-digit sacks. You're not a bad player getting 10, 11, 12 sacks, right?
No,
You're not a
no.
great player because you're not necessarily getting all those just based off of your skill, but scrubs don't go out there and get double-digit sacks, right?
No.
And when we say to pay him, again, we're not talking about pay him Micah Parsons money. We're saying retain him for a reasonable contract because, one, y'all can't find edge rushers, and two, he had been up to that point a valuable player. I think it's a little messed up to single him out on this defense. Like, ain't none of them doing their job really.
Right.
But yes, I would say to still keep him. Again, it's about the money. We're not talking about paying him 40 million, 30 million, 20 million a year. But if you get him on like a Rashad Bateman, right? Rashad Bateman got re-signed. I wouldn't, if you just said, hey, do you want to re-sign Rashad Bateman to a top of market deal? Absolutely not. But they got him to negotiate a more suitable number for Rashad Bateman, and they've got him locked up for several years. He's a useful player. He's not a great player. Same thing with Odafe Owe. You get him to agree to a reasonable contract, absolutely you keep him.
This is funny because Ravens fans, on offense, they love it, right? Sign somebody at the right price. On defense, if he ain't the man, they don't want him, even for a reasonable deal. This is where you want to do right player, right price, especially when you have an organization that doesn't believe in paying edge rushers, right? Like, you guys are sitting here talking about we need to go and sign Clowney. You either had Clowney here, but you don't want Owe, right? Like, Clowney's not going to do anything for this defense either, right? The problem is bigger than that. Like, Clowney's not a game wrecker. Owe is not a game wrecker either, but he is a solid player. When they do get the right defensive coordinator in here, and they get some depth at that D line and get healthy guys, he can get sacks. He's a solid guy, right? And then the hope is Mike Green turns into that game wrecker at some point. But yes, that's how you keep the salaries down. Have some salary cap. You sign players like that are solid. He's a solid player, and he's going to get I think he'll get even better than what he is right now, and he's naturally athletic. That's the guy that you want to sign. But we're not talking about a huge deal, right? Like, if you don't sign him, then what's the move? What do you think the move is? Draft? You want to draft another edge rusher? You want to draft another edge rusher, right? You want to go sign somebody in free agency the person that you sign free agency is going to be equivalent to what Owe is, but older. So just keep Owe.
Yeah, because to get a game record, you have to draft a guy typically in the top 10 to 15.
Yep.
We typically aren't picking in the top 10 to 15, and when we are, it ain't edge rusher. So it's going to be another safety if we get the 15 pick. We'll have four top 20 safeties. Like, so what do you expect the Ravens to do, man? Like, they're not going to go in free agency and pay a guy $35-40 million a year to be a 15 to 20 sack guy. The Max Crosbys of the world, the Myles Garretts, the Micah Parsons, we're not paying those guys. The Ravens are always rumored to be in on those guys. When do we ever get any of those guys? We never do it because that's not the philosophy of this team. Owe had a very good season last year, but I didn't hear anybody acting like he was Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons or Max Crosby. So I don't really understand what the question means. We gave him props because he had a good season. He had, 10 sacks, 10 and a half sacks? Good season. Kyle Van Noy had like 11 sacks last season. Neither one of them are on pace to do that right now. Van Noy's been hurt. Owe hasn't been playing that well. But like you said, B, how can you single out anybody on the 32nd ranked defense for playing bad? You're 32nd because nobody on the defense really is playing up to their standards. So it's hard for me to sit back and criticize Owe when I can levy criticism at everybody on that defense, including the defensive coaching staff.
This from Spiritual War Exposed. He said Mike Green gets held a lot. I saw multiple plays. The Chiefs guard was holding him. The Bills guard was blocking him in the back. What good is his crazy bend move if refs allow guards to back block him? Every single edge rusher in the NFL gets held a ton. All
You
of
think
them.
So you think Bills will hold Mike Green, but they won't hold Michael Parsons. They won't hold Myles Garrett. They won't hold TJ Watt. Those guys get held too. It doesn't matter. You can't stop them.
Yeah, they get held a ton, and then you get to be a great edge rusher because it doesn't matter. You still beat the guy. You beat him before he gets a chance to hold you, or if you've got the power, you bull rush through it. Right? You're going to get held. Period. And that's just the reality of playing defense in the NFL. Really, you're going to get held. Period. It's just like wide receivers are going to get held, right? And sometimes they'll call it. Sometimes you just got to play through it.
Hey, look, man.
It's just the way it is.
Listen, like we can't keep doing this. When the team goes and makes the wrong choice in the offseason, they make the wrong picks. We hype it up like this guy is going to be the one, right? We're not even talking about Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks was supposed to be that Ed Reed type, right? He was supposed to allow Kyle Hamilton to play closer to the line. Kyle Hamilton can make all the plays closer to the line. Like we're supposed to have Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed on the same team. That's what we're supposed to have, right? We don't even talk about Malachi Starks anymore. Now it's just, he's just a rookie. Oh, Ed Reed didn't make plays as a rookie? Ed Reed wasn't wrecking things as a rookie? Right? Like, no, man. Like, they're supposed to make immediate impacts. Mike Green is supposed to make an immediate impact. Can he get better? Of course. Will he get better? Of course. But the talk was he was one of the better defensive ends or edge rushers. It's just that his off the field things is what pushed him back. And yeah, look, he had great workouts, great Senior Bowl. He looked very impressive. And those things might show at some point, but he's not that guy right now. And the fact that he's getting held out there, that doesn't mean anything to me. He still got to go out there and get some sacks and change the game in some way. And he's not doing that. So like we gotta stop hyping these guys up that we draft on defense and then have no expectations when they do nothing or make excuses when they do nothing for this team. There has to be a bar. There has to be expectations. If we get a wide receiver high, the expectation is there. Well, except for Bateman. I don't know what's going on with Bateman, but he wasn't drafted that high, I guess. He was drafted in the first round, but he wasn't drafted high.
Yeah, no. And Malachi Starks, to me, he's just a guy. I never thought he was more than just a guy. He's proven to be just a guy. That's what I see from him on tape. He gets beat in coverage. He doesn't tackle all that great. He's not playing well. And I can juxtapose it to Ardarius Washington, an undrafted free agent who manned that position last year, who immediately made that defense better. I'm not saying he's the only reason why that defense improved, but he had a lot to do with it. And right now, Starks isn't playing the way he's supposed to be playing. Mike Green is not doing the things he needs to do. Some of that is on Green. Some of that is on the coaching staff. I've seen Green dropping in coverage against tight ends. He can't cover tight ends. Don't put him out there in coverage. He needs to be rushing the passer when he's in the game. And that's on the coaching staff. But the things Green can control, when he's in a technique to rush the passer, he's got to hit home, even if he's not getting the sack. Hit the quarterback, man. Like, make your presence felt out there. Nobody on the Ravens defense is playing physical enough, and they all seem to be out of position.
Yeah. And Spiritual War, he's just clarifying, like he's not, he's not making excuses for the defensive picks. He wanted Simmons, Josh Simmons, is who is he referring to? Yeah. O-line is where it needed to be for sure. And we're not necessarily directing that comment towards you, just in general that we don't. I don't want people making excuses for when these players don't go in here and make the impact that they're supposed to make. And again, I'm not even blaming it on them necessarily, but that's the expectation you're supposed to have. If you're going to invest heavily on the defense has to have high expectation, and they damn sure can't be last in the league, right? And they can't be last in the league, and we sitting here talking about what's wrong with Lamar, what's wrong with Derrick Henry, why did he fumble 3 times? Well, shoot, why did your defense give up 10 touchdowns already? You know what I'm saying? Like let's ask that before we get to the fumble. Let's ask that before we get to Lamar's 1 interception he's had this year. We talking about what's wrong with Lamar. He's had 2 turnovers. Right? He's had 2 turnovers this year. Up until this Chiefs game, he's had a great QB rating. Right? There's nothing wrong with Lamar. it's everything else. So yeah. Defund the defense. What's the next question?
Well, the next question, not going to spend too much time on. It's from BCam. BCam obviously did not hear when I said one question per post. That's okay. One of the questions is LJ slowing down like the last year's Russ did in Seattle? No. Lamar Jackson has been the best quarterback in the league the last couple of years. He's still playing at an extremely high level. He had one bad game. Every single quarterback in the league has bad games. He had one bad game. He had 3 other great games. So, no.
No.
His other question here, he wants to coaching candidates for next season. He's asking head coach, OC, and DC. I'm not going to give any offensive and defensive coordinator picks just because I don't want to go through a bunch of position coaches in the NFL. But I'll give some picks for head coach. You got Jeff Hafley, the Green Bay defensive coordinator. You got Jesse Minter with the Chargers, the defensive coordinator there. Robert Saleh, who we were just talking about in San Francisco, he's a candidate to be a head coach again. That was not his fault what happened last time. Grant Udinski out of Jacksonville is the offensive coordinator. If they keep playing well, he'll start to get some looks, obviously. Mike LaFleur, the OC with the Rams. Joe Brady, I think, will start to get his name out there again at the end of the season. He's currently the OC in Buffalo. Clint Kubiak, the OC in Seattle as well. He was kind of a hot name last year in New Orleans. Lost his job. Now he's in Seattle. But, they're kind of playing better than expectations as well. So I think he'll be back in those talks. Interesting note, though, that I did not realize until I was looking through some of the teams. Clint Kubiak is Gary Kubiak's son, right? There's another guy by the name of Clay Kubiak, who is the offensive coordinator in San Francisco. And I want to bring him up not because he's a head coaching candidate. Wow, somebody does not like Clay Kubiak. Not because he's a head coaching candidate, but because my man got to the NFL after being a high school head coach for 3 years. And then he spent 4 years, in various assistant roles in the NFL. And now he's an offensive coordinator. And I'm just looking at, all the Ks, all the Clints and the Clays and all the Kubiaks. And I'm like, is nepotism going to do in the San Francisco 49ers? Is nepotism going to be the end of Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco?
It's the Shanahans and the Kubiaks. It's always been that way. They've been tied together for literally decades. Like decades. Yeah. So no, I don't want that Kubiak. Mike LaFleur is a interesting candidate to me. I'm gonna throw another name out there. I know he's not coaching right now, but Byron Leftwich. I think the only reason he's not coaching is because he turned down the Jaguars job, and the NFL decided to teach him a lesson. You don't turn down jobs because the organization is terrible. But he's one that I would like to see. I like to see what kind of coaching staff he put together. Some of these guys I think are fine, but definitely want to see more of what they put together at the coordinator positions. Maybe we'll do a video. We'll kind of dive deeper into that. But AD, go ahead. What you want a name? You want to throw a name out there?
I throw a couple of names out there. I don't know why Bieniemy hasn't gotten a shot still to this point. He's a great offensive mind. I know he's not the reason why the Chiefs won, but he had a lot to do with that offense becoming what it became. And Brian Flores, I feel like he still needs another shot at it, man. Like, he did a great job in Miami. He's doing a great job as DC right now. I would like to see him step in. And, I'm not a big Monken guy, but if Monken's the interim coach and he turns it around, I would be up for him getting, maybe 1 or 2 years to prove he could be the head coach.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And I forget who asked it in here, but somebody asked how often Mike Green actually rushes the passer because he sees him dropping back in coverage, which, he does that occasionally. But Mike Green rushed the passer 14 times against Buffalo, 29 times against the Browns, 24 times against the Lions, and 22 times against the Chiefs. He has 0% pressure rate against Buffalo, 6.9 against the Browns, 4.2 against the Lions and 4.5 against the Chiefs. He's got 0 sacks, and he has a total of 4 pressures. So, like, you can talk about him dropping back in coverage, and he shouldn't be doing that. Well, he should be getting pressure on the quarterback, and he's not doing that, right? So they're trying to find other ways for him to affect the game because he is not affecting the game as a pass rusher, which is what they drafted him to do.
Yeah, and again, a lot of this has to do with the coaches. You know, like they need to do their job and step up. That it's just a young coaching staff, and they're learning on the job themselves. There's too many young players out there trying to learn on the job and not getting the right guidance. This is why veterans matter. This is why veteran coaches matter. So they're gonna have to figure some things out. But all right, that's the show. The overtime show is getting ready to start. Appreciate everybody, man. Still over 70 people in here. We went for almost 2 hours. AD, let the people know where they can find you.
Okay, you can follow me or subscribe to my YouTube, Press Start 410, or you can search P Start 410. You see my name on the screen, or you should right now. But even if you don't, follow me there. I'm up to 163 subscribers. I'm pushing for 200. And then maybe by the end of the year, I could be in the 1,000 boy club with these two fellas right here.
There you go. There you go. Go ahead and hit the subscribe. Let's get him to 200 tonight. Press Start 410. Okay, we're gonna be talking some video games here pretty soon. That he talks a lot of video games on his channel as well. So give him a follow. Thank you, Big Reg. That's a great show. Appreciate you. Flagship, I see you in there. Daniel Franklin, Kwame B. Man, y'all are in here heavy tonight, man. We really appreciate that. Patreon.com/LBHTShow. All right. That's where you can support the show on a monthly basis for as little as $5 a month, and you get access to our overtime show. The overtime show is going to start here in a minute. We're going to be talking to Nafisa Collier and WNBA drama. We're going to be talking about the Saudi Arabia government purchasing EA. How's that going to affect your game playing experience? How's that going to affect your Madden experience? We'll discuss that and anything else you want to discuss on the overtime show. All right. So patreon.com/LBHT shows how you can do that. Also, LBHTshow.com is where you can sign up for the newsletter and buy some merch. All right. That's it. B, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
B is ready. Patreon members, channel members, get ready. The overtime show starts in a couple of minutes. Everybody else, have a great night, and we will see you next time. Peace.